Chapter 2. The research laboratory of Professor Samuel Thomas is one of the most prestigious laboratories in the world. It is decorated mostly with white walls that starkly contrast with the black doors that lead to many, many rooms. These doors may look solid, but their texture is much closer to that of water. One could simply walk through one to the next room. As for the rooms themselves, they range from rooms filled with complex-looking computers to rooms filled with punching bags specifically designed to withstand hits from above-average attackers. There are also rooms for running scientific tests, a room that houses the ship used to travel to the different dimensions, and rooms in which to sleep and tend to one's bodily functions. All these rooms are tied together by one central room, a living room of sorts. In its center is a large round wooden table accompanied by wooden chairs. Hanging above it is a thin cylindrical hologram projector that takes the place of a proper television. And off to the corner is a small refrigerator flooding with sustenance for the 6 champions to consume. And speaking of those champions, Sarah began to materialize, followed by Jen and the rest. "All right, home sweet home," said Sky. "Time to see if we made the local news." He tapped the face of the table, making a keypad appear. After a few clicks, the projector displayed a holographic newscast. "I highly doubt we're in the news," said Charles. "We've only just returned." "Yeah, but it's not the first time we fought those things." Charles nodded. "True." Pete rummaged through his shirt pockets. "I should probably brew some more potions." "Need a hand?" asked Jen. "Don't want you to almost blow up the place again. That was one time, it'll be fine now." "Don't jinx it," she laughed, and they both went into another room. "Hey, Charles," Vanessa started. "Nice job on the suits, by the way." "Thanks," he responded. Most of the designs came from Scar's suit, though. Nanobots making bodily enhancements in a suit wouldn't have been my first thought, but it was a good one. He looked at Scar. "Who made your suit, anyway?" Scar shrugged. "Beats me. They just gave it to me when I used to work at the APD. Never bothered to ask who made it. I think it had something to do with researching the toughness of shadow dweller skin, if memory serves." "Interesting." Charles pondered for a moment. "It's too bad I didn't have time to recreate your gadgets, too." "It's just as well," said Scar. "If everyone suited all my gadgets, I'd feel a little like a clone character." "What's a clone character?" wondered Vanessa. "You know, like in a fighting game, when they try to expand the roster by adding 2 characters with the exact same moveset, but with different skins." "What the hell's a fighting game?" said Sarah, biting into an apple she'd retrieved from the refrigerator. "Like a video game. Please tell me you have that in your world." Sarah shrugged while stifling a yawn. "Still," Charles continued, "I would have liked to have recreated at least some of them. That rope that comes out of your wrist is quite interesting. The adhesive properties are some of the strongest I've ever seen. Although, because of that, the rope is pretty brittle. You probably couldn't swing anything from it." "Yeah, I was told that when I got it," said Scar. "It's called sticky string, by the way." "Really?" "That's a crap name," said Sarah. "It's supposed to be that way," Scar explained. "It's so it's easy to remember. My gadgets are thought-controlled, so I have to be able to easily remember the names." "Not necessarily," said Charles. "It could just as easily have been designed with a more primal brainwave in mind. Ideally, you shouldn't have to think of a specific word at all." "Maybe you should be working for the APD," Scar suggested. "The Assassination Police Department? I don't think so. It's not as bad as you think. Aside from the fact that they're in desperate need of a human resources department." Charles pondered again. "You have another gadget, right?" You mean the tractor bomb?" Scar confirmed. "That's the one. I might consider adapting that one into the rest of our suits. An electromagnet that small could be useful." "Anyway," said Vanessa, trying to refocus the conversation, "you did a good job with the suits, Charles." Charles smiled. "Hang on," Sarah butt in. "It's not all praise. It wouldn't hurt to have a better radar in these suits. How come we can track each other's locations, but not these shadow things?" Charles paced around the room. "That's not a bad idea. But to do that, I would need data on the shadow beast to use for the radar. something specific to them that it can home into. He paced closer to Sarah and then stopped in front of her. One thing that all shadow creatures have in common is shadow blood. More specifically, the temperature of it. It's much warmer than regular blood. That might work, but where can I get my hands on that? He paused, then whipped a pointed finger in Sarah's direction. Sarah! What? She stepped back, startled. You're hot. Gross, not interested. She pushed him away with her finger. What? No, I mean your blood. What about it? You have shadow blood. I should have thought of this before. Charles held out his hand, and the tip of his finger opened up, revealing a thermometer. He took it and presented it to Sarah. Here, take your temperature, he said. Why do you have a thermometer in your finger? Scar interrupted. I have a lot of things on my fingers, was the response. Like what? Vanessa wondered. Test tubes, screwdrivers, a lighter, a tape measure, among other things. Charles pushed the thermometer closer to Sarah, urging her to use it. Sarah shrugged and took it, but as she brought it to her mouth, Charles stopped her. Not there, he said. She moved the thermometer to her underarm. Not there either. She paused. Please don't tell me this thing goes up my ass. Charles looked down. Well, it is the most accurate way to take a temperature. Scar tried to hold in his laughter, albeit unsuccessfully. Shut up, Scar! She aggressively took one last bite of her apple before chucking it in the bin next to the refrigerator and slowly making her way to the bathroom. I hate both of you. After she entered the bathroom, the liquid door solidified by means of a complex locking system. As Charles continued to pace around the room, lost in a sea of thought, Vanessa sat at the table and watched the news with Scar. We look pretty good on TV, don't we? She said. Speak for yourself, Scar argued. 90% of the shots of me are of my scar. That's obviously not my good side, and they know it. Then a sound erupted, almost like the popping of a balloon. Pete and Jen came running out from the other room, carrying piles of moving pink and blue cotton balls that were the size of baseballs. Jen, take the blue ones and give me the pink ones, said a flustered Pete. Why? Asked an equally flustered Jen. Because they react to genders. We need to match them with the right gender so they won't blow up. Then shouldn't I take the pink ones? No, the blue ones. Hurry up. Vanessa raised her finger. Do you guys need a hand? No, you can't, Pete said abruptly. The gender ratios have to be equal. Vanessa and Scar exchanged confused looks as Jen and Pete shuffled their carrying loads. Once the colors and genders matched, everyone held their breath. The cotton balls began to vibrate, and then they popped into puffs of pink and blue smoke. Pete sighed. That was close. I don't understand, Pete, Vanessa started. You used to be so good at potion mixing. Jen snorted. Must you? Said Pete. No, sorry. Go ahead and weasel your way out of this one, Pete. I don't need to weasel out of anything. I had practice before. Vanessa, you weren't the first chosen hero, remember? The prophecy was very clear about which powders and potions would be essential to guide the chosen hero on their way. And it took you until we met, Vanessa, for you to master those ones, Jen commented. Pete glared at her and continued. The stuff I'm making now is different. I'm just out of practice. Man, wish I had a prophecy telling me what to do, Scar put in. Then, the bathroom door opened, and Sarah walked out. She approached Charles, who was still pacing, and forcibly placed the thermometer in his hand. All done, she grinned. He stopped and held out the thermometer, staring disgustedly at it. You washed this, right? Sarah pondered. You know, I can't remember. Then she grinned. Charles quickly recorded the temperature into the database within his mind, and then rushed to the bathroom to wash both his hands and the thermometer. Scar laughed. That was entertaining. Sarah winked at him and then proceeded to the refrigerator to get some more food. She pulled out an apple and bit into it while continuing to pull out even more food. My, do leave some for the rest of us, came the withered voice of an old man with grey hair and a grey moustache. He entered the room with the aid of a wooden walking stick, which had an engraving of a timepiece on the handle. Professor Thomas greeted Charles as he re-entered the room. The others greeted the professor as well, though Sarah chose to refrain.
So, how goes the hunt for the Shadow Dwellers?
The professor asked. Terrible, thanks to your lack of assistance, said Sarah.
I've told you before, Miss Pecoro. I have my own chores to attend to.
Sarah closed, or rather slammed, the refrigerator door and compiled her food on the table. Are those chores more important than making sure the Shadow Dwellers don't destroy any more lives?
The chores are to aid you,
the professor said simply.
Who do you think pays for the immense amount of food you consume?
The professor removed his white lab coat, revealing his black shirt. The coat then transformed into a small mechanical spider and crawled away. Whatever, said Sarah, taking a huge bite out of a pear while placing her apple core to the side. Wow. Slow down, Sarah, said Jen, taking a seat at the table. Can't, Sarah responded. Using my powers makes me hungry. Scar tried to take one of her apples, but he reconsidered when Sarah raised a shadowy hand in his direction. Anyway, said Charles, trying to refocus the conversation. He spoke to the professor's original question. I've updated the radar in our suits using data provided by Sarah. Hopefully, we can use it to track the Shadow Dwellers, though I doubt it'll be strong enough for that. Sarah's still part human, after all. It's not a perfect match. Charles walked to the table and continued. He turned off the news hologram, much to Scar's dismay, and projected a blue grid map of the settee onto the table with his eyes. Wait, your eyes are projectors now? Said Scar. I tweaked them when I was washing my hands in the bathroom. Sarah studied the map and pointed at something. Why does it say SD here? It stands for Shadow Dweller, Charles answered. I thought you used to be blind, Sarah, Pete interrupted, coming to sit at the table too. Since when can you read? Scar taught me, she explained, while biting into another apple. We had time to kill when we were recruiting Charles in Dimension 004, Scar added. You taught her how to read in that short a time? Questioned Vanessa, while subtly pinching her nose. I'm not dumb, Sarah protested. I read Braille, I just didn't know what all the letters looked like. Now I do. She put down her apple core. Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. She pinched her nose even harder, and her fingernails were turning red. What are you doing? Sarah wondered. She needs to feed, said Jen knowingly. Fine, Vanessa assured. No, you're not, Vanessa. You have to eat. Professor, is there somewhere Vanessa can get some blood? Really, Jen, I'm fine, Vanessa urged.
No, your friend is correct, Miss Simons,
said Professor Thomas.
Do not deny your vampiric nature.
Are you sure? Asked Vanessa bashfully.
Quite positive. Believe me, I know how you feel.
He looked into her bright red eyes.
There's a window 2 rooms down to your left. You may exit from there and hunt as you need.
Okay, if you're sure. I'll go tonight. Is there anywhere you want me to avoid?
Oh, no, don't worry about that. All my family are long gone. Just try to remain inconspicuous.
Of course.
Right.
Professor Thomas clapped his hands together.
Good work, all of you. I'll be taking my leave now.
Where are you going? Sarah questioned.
I have business with some of my colleagues, if you must know.
Uh-huh, Sarah muttered disbelievingly.
And I suppose I should go to the shops and purchase some more food to fill that bottomless pit you call a stomach.
Probably a good idea. She bit into a biscuit.
You might say thank you every once in a while,
the professor grumbled as he took his leave. Charles let up on the projection of the radar. If the radar finds something, I'll let you guys know, he said while tapping his head. Well, on that note, said Jen, getting up from her chair. Who's hungry? Given that Sarah hasn't eaten everything, that is. Everyone laughed, except for Sarah.